Yesterday I talked to you about some of the worst things possible in 2017. I did get a bit riled up during that show, so if there are things at the end that you didn't like, I'm sorry, but they're not wrong. But today, let's switch gears. Let's appreciate the best things that happen in video games, in some of the tech industry that actually is tied to video games. And let's forget the bad things. They're always gonna be there, so just try not to dwell on them. Again, I'm not taking these in order of importance or in order of when they happened, but alphabetically because I think it makes it a bit easier. Probably not, but wait, we'll see. And I'm gonna start with AMD. Now, I tore AMD a new port yesterday, but this year AMD released Ryzen. Now, Ryzen did have a rocky start. It didn't support memory great from the get-go. I mean, it was the first version of the platform. There wasn't a lot of information available for the motherboard makers, for the BIOS makers. But things got better, and Ryzen is a superb lineup of chips. The top-end Ryzen CPU, while it is expensive even compared to the i7, will give you 8 hardware cores and 16 threads running at a 3.6 GHz speed if I'm not mistaken. But you wanna know the secret? The lowest-end Ryzen 7 CPU costs around the same price as an i5. It still has 8 cores, 16 threads, and can be overclocked to pretty much the same level as the most expensive Ryzen 7. And the core it comes with, it won't take you to 4 GHz. Ryzen itself has problems getting there, but it's enough for overclocking. You've got one of the most powerful CPUs made in terms of performance, the price, for working. Yes, in games you may have some issues with them not being as fast as the Intel chips. There's no denying that they have a lesser amount of instructions per clock that they can do, but they are quite close. And there's a lot of threads there. So you can actually do work, like proper work that you would normally do on a workstation, on a CPU that costs $1,000. You can do that with something that costs as much as an unlocked i5. And the platform itself, all the ports, all the PCIe lanes, the scaling with memory in terms of performance. It is a dream. AMD absolutely blew everybody away. It made Intel just go, oh boy, launch the i9s now. And they launched the i9s and they had a few issues that would have been sorted out had they been launched a month or two later. And then Intel came out with the Coffee Lake i7s, the one that needed a different iteration of the same socket, so they're incompatible with the previous generation, though there are some Intel shenanigans there as well on account that there was some compatibility, but they expressly asked the motherboard makers to not implement it. Probably because of fears that some genius would try to install one of those chips in a motherboard that did not have the VRM needed to actually run it, even though on the high-end overclocking cards, it would have probably run from the previous generation, I mean from the Z200s. Some of them would have probably been able to run a Coffee Lake CPU. And yeah, the Coffee Lake top-end CPU, that is a beast. Sure, you only have 6 cores and 12 threads, not 8 and 16, but it will run at 5 GHz. 5 GHz on 6 cores, that's a dream. And you would not have had that if it wasn't for Ryzen. If Ryzen didn't just swing its cores up onto the table and said, bask in their magnificence. Full cores, fully functional, bring it. Intel would have not brought it. Why would they have brought it? I mean, they could have sold the 6 core parts at a higher price on a different platform. That's what they've always done. But because of Ryzen, they slashed prices, they brought in new product. Because of AMD, the CPU market, the x86 CPU market is again alive. And things are even interesting in the graphics department, because Intel and AMD are working on a single chip to combine Vega, HBM, and Intel cores. It's gonna be a wild 2018 because this year was so good for CPUs. I'm just hoping they can keep the momentum for the next year because I want a Ryzen 2000 or whatever they're going to call the next series. It's not going to be completely new architecture. It's going to be a little bit of a shrink of this one. Maybe some better performance in the IPC a bit because of the shrink, and hopefully higher frequencies. And if they can do that, then I am getting the equivalent of a Ryzen 7 1700 and clocking that thing to 4 gigahertz or so, maybe a bit higher, and I'm gonna be able to do anything on it. Anything. There will be nothing stopping me from doing anything, and it's gonna be amazing. And because this show is dedicated to amazing things, Bayonetta is on PC now. I haven't gotten the chance to play it yet, but it's a Platinum game. Platinum games, let's face it, even their shovelware is fabulous. Unless we're talking about the Turtles game, which I do think that they made. That one was horrible, but the Avatar one and the I think Transformers ones, those were good. But Bayonetta, that's top tier spectacle fighter now on PC. Yeah, I know it's what 10 years overdue, but it's here and it's fantastic. Just as fantastic as Divinity Original Sin 2. This is one of my favorite games of the year. Sure, I have some issues with it. I don't really like the way that the narrator is describing what you're about to say instead of you just seeing your dialogue. And it would be nice if you could actually overhear what the other characters were saying when they interject to do their own story and you weren't just given a description of it. But everything else is refined, improved. Apart from the crafting reached its peak at the original version of Divinity Original Sin 1, and then every subsequent version just went downhill. They should have just kept drag and drop, leave it at that. All this fiddling around with a different menu, with a different screen for it is just annoying. The game, okay, I didn't have time to get into the story that much, but it is so fun up until now. And it is fun because it gives you tools, it gives you problems, and it gives you many tools to use. Tools that you have to understand, tools that you have to acquire to perfect. And it is so rewarding when you manage to weasel out of a difficult combat scenario because you're just a big damn cheater. But you're not cheating, are you? I mean, your character's got wings, flappy over the combat scenario. Why not? You can do it. It's a game that doesn't tell you, oh no, you can't use that power now. We have a cinematic experience for you. No, it's about freedom. It's about playing with a DM that is cool. Also, the game has a DM mode. And sort of in the same vein, but without the DM mode, but in the idea that you're playing a game with a DM that's cool, Helix. Helix is a flawed game and it's got some problems, but my god, it's Piranha Bytes fun, and it's better than I expected it to be. It's better than Risen 2. It's sort of, however we'd say if it's at the same level as Risen 1. Wouldn't say it's at the same level as Gothic, but it's closer to those games than it is to Risen 2. Much closer. It is a Piranha Bytes game. It's not trying to be something different. But again, I haven't played it too much, so I don't know, maybe there is a boss battle on a ship somewhere where you just throw a harpoon at a giant thing that's standing there and looks like it's some console game about pirates that's no way fitting of the style of this franchise. That's not important. Moving on, I give a special mention to Groupie. You know how it would be nice to be able to organize windows, multiple windows within windows in their own sort of meta window? You know, like you do with the tabs in a web browser? That sounds like something that should be a standard feature of an operating system, doesn't it? It's not, but you can use it now thanks to Groupie, made by Stardock, who've been fixing Windows' blunders for years, it seems. I've been using it. It's fun. Like I could actually have multiple tabs of LibreOffice so that I don't lose track of them on account of, you know, by default Windows doesn't have the full name in the taskbar, and alt tab in between them is kind of a pain. I can just have them there, like all visible. Sure, I lose some vertical real estate in terms of screen space, but it's not a lot. It can be a bit annoying if I use it in Premiere, because in Premiere I do need as much vertical space as possible, and it's still not perfect. Like it will forget that I moved windows to a monitor and will open them from one monitor to another depending on what tab I am. And the command to switch between multiple tabs is not a global one. You have to select the window, but it's something that I hope they fix. They also said they're gonna investigate the ability to sort of split the groupie meta window into smaller windows for all your tabs, which is what you could have done with the old version of Opera and with Vivaldi now, and it's something that I actually kind of need to properly use groupie. So I'm hoping they do that soon. Moving on to Nier on PC. Yes, I jumped from G to N. I can't off the top of my head think of things from G to N that were really amazing this year. Possibly I missed a few, sorry about that, but you can add to the list yourself in the comments. Still, Nier Automata on PC. It's another Platinum Games spectacle fighter, and it is fantastic from what people have told me. Again, have not played it, but when Platinum Games makes a big spectacle fighter and it is available for everyone, that's a reason to celebrate. Another reason to celebrate is Prey. As I've said, I've played the game. I am happy with what they've done. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't exactly how I would have wanted it to go in terms of combat. You don't have different kinds of ammunition, but you do have some interesting encounters in Zero G. It's a game that I enjoyed. It's a game that I liked. The way it's designed, its world, its characters, its choices, its attempts at telling a story that's not about initially what you thought. Though I do kind of wish it had more development time, maybe it was a bit bigger. But still, whenever you get to play a game that tries its starness and does succeed to be a spiritual successor to System Shock, that is reason to celebrate. Moving on, we have Rainbow Six Siege. Ubisoft is continuing to make this one of the best multiplayer competitive first-person shooters out there. They're actively improving it, making it run better, making it load faster, making it a more enjoyable experience with more content, and you don't have to pay money for any of it. This year I unlocked every default operator, the ones that came in the first version of the game. I have the starter edition, the one where they cost a hell of a lot, but I got them all. I don't think I actually needed to unlock Tachanka, and I just unlocked them because I thought it'd be funny. And still I do have enough money left for the other operators, for some of the new ones. I still have enough money left over in-game that I earned by playing to get the DLC characters. Well, get one of them. Would have been two, but I bought the Chunka. It wasn't even on sale. What I would wish is that they would add either R6 credits in those packs that you have a chance to get at the end of the match, or operators themselves. And if you do already have the operator, you can get the R6 credits or normal credits, because you have a double. Man, that's not stopping. They're going to improve it again next year with more content, with what seems to be a zombie mode, which, well, considering Rainbow Six mechanics, it wouldn't be a totally and completely creatively bankrupt idea. It would sort of be, but not completely. Speaking of things that are not creatively bankrupt, Resident Evil 7. They made a good game. They turned this series around completely. Again, I have not played it, but I've seen it in action. I've seen what they've done with it, and it's not the same game that I looked at with Resident Evil 5 and said, this is crap. No, it actually looks intriguing, and I'm happy for them. Like, Capcom, you did it. You gave the people what they wanted, and you even made a VR version that's getting people to crap their pants. Sure, PT was a big inspiration, but hey, as long as it happened. Snake Pass. This is my game of the year. Snake Pass is the game that took Ukulele's lunch money and then beat him over the head with it. And it hurt. Snake Pass is nostalgic but not old. It's not a retread of old gameplay ideas. It's a walk down memory lane in terms of what kind of game it is. A beautiful, sunny, joyful game where you go around the map, solving puzzles, exploring, and collecting things. But you don't do it in a tired, repetitive, jump mechanic-based thing. You do it as a snake, a beautiful snake, a smiling, happy snake that has his own snaky mechanics. Mechanically, it's a superb game. It does take some time to understand. Mastering it is going to take you even longer, but it is rewarding. It is, as I've said, it is my most favorite game of this year. Didn't get a chance to finish it yet. I played maybe 2 or 3 levels more than what you saw in the play now, but that was enough to just make me fall in love with this game. This is what a spiritual successor, what a game that aims to give you back your childhood should be. It is like those games of old, but it is its own thing. It is not a copy, it is not a clone. And you have the ability to make the snake smile and frown by just pressing the D-pad, and that's superb. Go play Snake Pass now. Don't even watch the rest of the show. Go play Snake Pass right now. It needs to be played because it is beautiful. This year we also got the announcement of a sequel for Star Control 2. Not Star Control Origins, I already knew about that one from years and years ago. I even played a bit of it this year, but an actual sequel made by the creators of Star Control 2. It's made by Fred Ford and Paul Reich, and it is a continuation of the Star Control 2 story. Yeah, I know there were some disputes with some of the rights. They're handling it. Stardock aren't evil. They've repeatedly said ever since they got the rights to Star Control that they're not making a sequel to Star Control 2 because they don't have the rights to the aliens or the story, so they're making a spin-off so that the creators of Star Control 2 can make their own game. They said this like 5 years ago. I don't know why they're arguing about it now. Probably because some contracts that are not really well written maybe, or unclear, but it's something that's being handled, and I hope is being handled in such a way that both studios can make their games and both of them can coexist and prosper and everyone can be happy, because we need more Star Control. We need Star Control in our lives. Star Control 2, I'm gonna say it again, is one of the best games ever made. If you're into space games, this is the one you should start with. This is the one that should shape your expectations for every space game ever. It'll make most of them seem dull and repetitive and uninteresting and derivative by comparison, but it is such an absolute joy. And speaking of space and stars, Star Wars Battlefront 2's multiplayer was reactivated. The old one, the new one is crap. Disney, yes, the evil corporation Disney reactivated the multiplayer for this game. Yeah, there's some bugs in it, but you can play it again in multiplayer. And not just Battlefront 2, Star Wars Empire at War. They enabled Petroglyph to reactivate the multiplayer for this RTS game. That's amazing. That's incredible. You get to play these magnificent games again in multiplayer. You get to share them and enjoy them with everyone in the world. That's one of the highlights of the year, honestly. It's more important than the release of EA's Battlefront 2, because that's just a cynical cash grab. There is no joy in that game. Everything's a calculated marketing decision. But here, you can have fun. You can enjoy yourself. Now in multiplayer. Without a doubt, one of the absolute best things to happen this year was Steemit. If you don't know, Steemit.com is basically Reddit, but upvoting things is considered a sort of transaction. It's a complicated system that involves Steam Power, Steam as a cryptocurrency, and Steam Dollars is another cryptocurrency, but the idea is as follows. In the few months that our content has been on Steam, we have gained financial independence from YouTube. Complete and total financial independence from the company that has repeatedly pretty much screwed us. And we could not be happier. Yes, we are still using YouTube to host videos because it's free and it's good quality, but we will be using DTube as well, which is also in the same network as Steemit. Steemit even has a version of Instagram called Steepshot that, again, upvotes mean money. It doesn't mean that you have to put money in. You can get it through upvote. It's a complicated system. It even has Zapple, which is a sort of Twitter that doesn't really work well right now. But I encourage you to join this network. I really encourage you to give it a try. It's a community of people that's not really big on censorship, on tearing people down because they may say, oh, I thought The Last Jedi wasn't all that great. There's no CEO to screw everybody over. There is no ability to actually delete anything from it because it's all on the blockchain. It's decentralized, it's everywhere, it's profitable. And I mean, next year, because of Steemit, we will be getting new equipment because people there upvoted our videos. Steemit absolutely saved this channel, and it's got the chance to make it prosper in the future. So yeah, join Steam it. You'll find us there. You'll find me there occasionally posting some dumb article about my cat, my brother's cat, or about how I nearly died in the hospital and how you can avoid it. So go now, please, go and enjoy yourself. Moving on, even though I will not be showing footage of it, the Switch, Nintendo's new console. It actually had games this year. Great games, and everybody's happy. Nintendo managed to not pull another Wii U. It pulled a Wii. And again, I don't own one. I probably won't ever own one, though. You don't need a TV for it, do you? It would be kind of the most economical console, when I think about it. But it's something that people truly enjoy and have reason to, because it is a good console, unless you run Doom on it, with wonderful games. Unless it's Doom, which runs like crap on it. Moving on, I would have liked to say something about Torment Tides of Numenera, but I did not get a chance to play it, and I really wanted to enjoy it if I played it. But I have seen some of the dialogue in the game, and it's, I believe the expression is purple prose, where things are stupidly written, and to have things stupidly written in a Torment game is like having a Crisis game with bad graphics. So I'm hoping it was some isolated incidents, not indicative of the entire game. Also, I would have liked to say something about Thimbleweed Park. It's Ron Gilbert's new game, but I haven't played that either. I'm gonna say something about Wildlands. Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon's Ubisoft's Wildlands. When I first saw the game at E3, I thought it wouldn't amount to much. I mean, it was Ubisoft still in the phase of, oh, Watch Dogs was amazing, you suck for not liking it. But this game is actually what The Division should have been. It's an action game, it's a shooter, it's not an RPG where you can shoot someone 50 times in the head and they will not die. It's not about bullet sponges, it's about as close to Far Cry 2 as any game developed by Ubisoft has ever gotten. And guess what? It got currently now in the game there's an event where you have to fight Predator. You get to roam around the jungle while Predator is hunting you. You don't have to be Sterling Archer to appreciate that. It's a wonderful thing. I just wish the Predator was actually playable, like in a sort of 4v1 mode, like Evolve but with Predator, but it's not. Sadly though, you can get his helmet and his wristplate if you kill him. And lastly, I would have liked to give a special mention to XCOM 2 War of the Chosen. I have not played it, but from everything I've seen, it just goes bananas. Yes, to actually play it, you do have to buy the original game, and it is a hefty and expensive expansion, but it basically is a different game. It adds so much content on top of the already much content that XCOM 2 had, that it probably makes the fact that the basic mechanics of XCOM 1 and 2 are still fundamentally flawed, wrong, and broken. It makes that even less of a factor. And the fact that they're trying to compensate for it by, at least adding more stuff, that's something that I truly appreciate. And it doesn't even have loot boxes, even though it's a Take-Two game. Well, 2K, Take-Two, same thing. That's probably it. I mean, I know for a fact there may have been some other amazing things this year. Fidel Dungeon Rescue, for example, one of the last games I had this year on the Play Nows. That's a good game. That's a game I enjoyed. Vigilantes too, and that was a very interesting game. But in large, the things that stuck with me were these. Like, these sort of remained in my mind all throughout the year. Yeah, and maybe the fact that they announced Darksiders 3, but I didn't really play that much of the series. I'm not the biggest fan possible, but I understand why some people would absolutely love that, and why that would be on their list of the most amazing things of 2017. Are you one of them? What's yours? What were you most excited about this year? Please comment on what you really loved this year in gaming and tech, and let's all take a moment to appreciate what we have. Goodbye.